Welcome back to Man on a Beach. I'm here at Westbrook Bay in Kent and I'm with Dominic. Dominic, hi. What does the beach mean to you?
To me, the beach is a source of relaxation. I like to look at the sea. Coming from the city where you see towers everywhere, coming to the sea, you get to look at the horizon and you feel like you're in a different place. The sea's got a lovely cathartic quality to it. You see the motions of the waves, the colour of the blue, you see the wildlife, birds swirling around. Actually down here in Kent you also get the smell of the seaweed, which is it's a lovely kind of natural smell. Again, you probably wouldn't find that kind of smell in the city, so it's a place where you can really recharge. I particularly like it here with the sunsets. You know, you sort of see the sky is very broad here, and you can sort of look along the coast, and you know, it's a great, you know, almost like a kind of painting really. It's like you know, today the kind of tones are a bit like maybe a Rothko painting. Other times they're sort of like you know, bright kind of crimson. You see streaking down, or clouds sort of floating along. Again, coming from the city, I think we kind of lose touch with nature, and we become ensconced in our own sort of world of human interactions and stresses and everyday pursuits. But down here you're sort of reminded as well, when you look at the horizon, that we're on a planet. We're sort of human beings, part of a sort of larger planet with its own agenda, and you get a sense of the power of nature. You know, so those are the kind of thoughts that really come into my mind when I'm down here, and it's just very kind of therapeutic.
It's interesting because people say to me they get comfort from the power of the sea. So this idea of being passive in your relationship with it, is that your point?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that's one way of looking at it. I mean, I'm probably not one particularly for sort of getting on a boat, and some people, you know, you see them, they go on sort of gliders. Some people go in the you know, sometimes I have a paddle if I you know, if I like it. But actually, no, I kind of like the feeling of the elements, I would say. So, you know, when you're down here, you can feel the wind, you can sort of feel the water in the air, or if you go down there, the sea will come up and you might get a bit of spray. So I think it's kind of like being part of nature, being affected by nature, rather than sort of looking at it from a distance, which I enjoy as well.
It's like sensory.
Yes, yeah. So I think it's definitely all the senses here. You've got smell, you know, with the kind of seaweed, or you've got the seagulls, you know, nesting. It's got its own little smell. You've got, you know, you can touch the sand or the water. You've got the wind blowing around. Sometimes it's raining. Sometimes it's really hot. Like the other day, it was, you know, very hot, and you feel the sun on your skin. So yeah, there's definitely a kind of sensory sort of experience going on. Any more questions?
No.
No, I think
this is yours.
Yeah, no. I think it's a remarkable place. I think here, I mean, I've always liked beaches and sea. You know, my favourite places in the world where I've been to have tended to be islands. I don't really know why that is. I mean, here it's not an island, but you know, you've got that. Maybe there's a sense of sort of adventure as well. You know, like you've got the sea out there. We're almost on a frontier with the kind of unknown, something out there. There are the elements. We're sort of at the edge of where kind of human life and civilization sort of ends, and we're at the border with something else that we don't really control, as it were. So maybe there's something about it that I like as well. There is something just very nice about the horizon, I think, where the sort of sky meets the sea, and it's sort of it's like looking at a painting, really. If you were looking at, I know that Turner, you've got the Turner Gallery, and he was from here, and I'm sure he sort of painted sort of similar sky scenes. And I think of places that I've been, all over the world, say the Mediterranean, I don't know, Asia, quite a few different places. I think the kind of quality of the light and the sky here is actually very good as an objective place. I think it's a great view. It's just very expansive. I mean, today, it is probably a bit of a miserable day for here, but even then, the colours I think are quite enticing. They're it's like, as I say, like a sort of almost a bit of a Rothko painting, a sort of mysterious, murky, kind of moody, abstract experience. Sometimes it's like, light coming from the sky, almost like a kind of divine revelation or something like that. You see that shafts of light just sort of come down. Today it's more atmospheric, more kind of brooding, but it's still great. I sort of enjoy coming out, even when it's not a kind of perfect day. And there's also, I suppose, you've got the sea, and you've also got sort of other. It's quite interesting to see, other kind of trivial bits and pieces of what people do. Like the guy over there searching for money, with his metal detector. I used to have one of those as a kid, actually, to go around doing that. And it's just sort of, the bits and pieces of life that go on, maybe outside the microscope of sort of, the business world and the world that, a lot of people occupy for a 9-to-5 job. So there's definitely that aspect to it as well. I think it's very, very sort of invigorating and relaxing. I don't know what those seagulls are doing over there. They're sort of
they've pushed some of the seaweed away with the tractor over there.
Oh, right.
So it's turned over some insects, I think.
And you've also, one thing I haven't mentioned is the wildlife as well, because it's just very interesting observing nature, observing the birds and all sorts of creatures. There's hundreds of birds here. I think there was actually a peregrine falcon on top of the Turner Museum a while back. Some bird watchers out there watching it, and in my parents have a house down here. In their garden there's loads of birds that come in, sort of different types of birds, blackbirds. There's also foxes as well, foxes and cats and all sorts of things, and bees swarm around the lavender, and you sort of, there must be lots and lots of bees, and you look at them and they're in their own little world whizzing around, and you think, again, it takes you out of thinking about your own preoccupations. You're thinking about the natural world, and sort of life, is more than just kind of people, and we should really remember that.
So almost like being rather than thinking.
Yes, no, I think so. I think that's it. Yeah, just kind of observing, and I think maybe a problem is thinking too much, sort of too much analysis and worrying and thinking about what you're doing. But you can just sort of look at, you can just look at nature and just see how it, goes on, and maybe it makes us think that, you know, our own lives can be quite insignificant in a way. We tend to think about, oh, you know, I've got to pay this bill, or what will I do at work, and will I get that promotion, and, you know, all these kinds of things. But you sort of, I don't know, when you look around, you see the seagulls and they're squabbling over a bit of a crab or something like that. You sort of get this perspective that, you know, ultimately there are no objective sort of worries or concerns, or, you know, things like that. They're only the sort of subjective ones that you have, and, you know, that, you know, you can take a perspective outside of that. So that's another sort of source of inspiration, I suppose. No, I hope that was useful.
Listen, thank you so much.
No problem.
I'm really grateful.
Cheers.
Best wishes, Dominic.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.